All right, Giannis, again and again, always raises
stupid.
the bar. Look at that.
That's just stupid.
Gets 50 points. Mike
21
Smith.
shots. 17
21
to 21.
shots. Also 14 rebounds. 14 rebounds. There are only a few guys who have done that, who have had 50-point, 14 rebound games. Giannis is one of them. So is Karl Malone. So is a guy you may have heard of named Wilt Chamberlain. So Giannis, he hadn't had a 50-point game since Game 6 of the NBA Finals. And Chris Williamson from SNY joins us. And I just want to say, Chris.
What's up, dude?
What's up, baby?
Let's get it. Let's
Hey,
get it. What's
yeah,
up?
It's an honor. I'm glad to be here.
And we're glad you're here because I want to ask you about Giannis. I look at it, and I've told Mike this before. I haven't seen a lot of guys who get better in the NBA Finals. Usually you get to the NBA Finals, you play your game, and, okay, greatness just shows out. But Giannis was better in Game 6 than he was in Game 5, and he was better in Game 5 than he was in Game 4. I mean, and I feel like he's still ascending. If you look at Giannis, how do you assess him right now at this point in his career?
He's one of the greatest players in the game, easily, right? Because he's the middest down low in the paint. He's one of the best defenders, when it comes to guarding the perimeter, but also in the paint. This is a guy who has gotten better each and every single year. He's worked like the free throw shooting. Remember all the taunts that he got from Chris Paul, the Phoenix Suns? Now he's hitting he's much more accurate when it comes to the free throw line. And he's just a freak of nature. I mean, his IQ has gotten so much better. You know what I'm saying? He's not forcing things as much. This guy has the potential, and I think Katie said it, to be one of the, if not the greatest ever, when it's all said and done, because when he gets a jump shot, y'all, it's going to be nasty. We've seen him hit him some mid-range here and there, but when he takes it to that next step where it's automatic, it's lights out. The league is not going to be able to know what to do with him.
So, dude, very well, I got a thought exercise for both of y'all. Dude very well could end up with a third MVP. But Embiid and Jokic, among others, are going to have something to say about it. I think Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic are safely in the top 3. So I just want to ask y'all, because this is harder than it feels like. This is why I hate top 5s, because 5. It's like everybody can't be in the top 5. DeMar DeRozan, talking about making history, I think he's got 6 straight games of 35-plus points on 50% shooting, which ties the league record. I think he's got the Kings tonight. Does he have the Kings tonight? I think he can break that record tonight, which he shares with Wilt Chamberlain. Who rounds out y'all MVP top 5 as we're sitting here right now? Because I'm assuming, Chris, that the aforementioned Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid are in. So you got 2 guys to make your MVP top 5. Who would they be?
Top 5 for me, yeah. Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, and then got to give DeMar DeRozan.
In no particular order.
Yeah,
Okay,
no particular order. DeMar DeRozan, and then I think you got to give credit to Devin Booker. I feel like sometimes he gets overshadowed a little bit because of Chris Paul and the effect that he has on the team. Devin Booker is playing lights out. You remember he was the guy who's putting up all these numbers, but the team stunk. And now you see what he's able to do. When he has a premier point guard, a Hall of Fame point guard, no doubt. So those are the 2 players that I would say. And the thing about DeMar is he's been doing this for a minute, right? He just hasn't been getting the respect because he played in Toronto. He got traded, right? They won the championship with Kawhi. And then, he's at San Antonio and he doesn't get the same type of love. But now since he's on the center stage in Chicago, you're finally getting to see him really get the proper respect and the attention that he deserves. So that's who I would say will round up my top 5.
You like
I'm
that
so
answer,
glad,
Mike?
Chris. Chris, I'm so glad that you mentioned Devin Booker, because I was going to say, you better mention, somebody's got to mention a Phoenix Sun. When a team is 47-10 and has just been consistent all year, they're on another winning streak. What's the winning streak now? 6, 7? They've had several of these. One point it's like, okay, 10 here and 8 there. I mean, they've just been rolling teams all year, better than they were last year. I feel like all that winning, somebody needs to be rewarded for that. I have no problem with a Phoenix Sun there, whether it's Booker or Paul. And in the 5 spot, You look at Luka, the team is not doing great, but Luka's numbers, once again, Luka's been incredible. So I think I'd throw Luka in there as a 5.
The only other one I feel like we'd be remiss for not mentioning. So we've given love to DeRozan. We've covered the Suns. I mean, early on in the year, it looked like it was his, but he's fallen off. He's struggled maybe too much to take it back. We'll see what he does down the road. But Steph. But the main one I want to mention is Ja Morant. I mean, how does Ja Morant not make your top 5, MVP candidate? So, yeah, it's going to be a tough ballot. It's a tough ballot, that's for damn sure. Chris, you're at SNY doing phenomenal work. Let's focus on this Nets trade in particular and Ben Simmons. A lot of people in the immediate aftermath felt like, oh, the Nets won that trade. I know Michael feels that way, that the Nets won that trade. I feel like the Sixers got the better player, but the Nets got the better fit in terms of exactly what they need that they didn't have before. But one could argue the Sixers didn't have anything because they didn't have Ben Simmons. So they upgraded from Seth Curry to James Harden. In your mind, who got the better of that trade? Or was it just a win-win because both of those dudes needed to go be great somewhere else, as we like to say around here?
No, I think it's a win-win because, James Harden is finally going back to, with his boy Daryl Morey. And I think he's going to be, incredible in a 1-2 punch with Joel Embiid. And then the other side, the Nets are getting Ben Simmons, who can guard, positions 1 through 5. He can facilitate as well as anybody, in the game. And then also Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, but specifically Seth Curry is somebody who's going to be proved to be pivotal, especially we have no idea what's happening with Joe Harris. So you get another shooter in Seth Curry, and that's going to elevate their play. The one thing I'll say right now is that I feel like the Sixers won the trade just because I can rely on Harden and Embiid more than I can rely on Ben Simmons, but specifically Kyrie Irving, and then also Kevin Durant as far as his injury history, because it's just a lot of what ifs, and I don't trust it.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Right.
One guy is unvaccinated. I guess on paper versus on the court, it's two different things that remain to be seen. Like Harden, when he's motivated and in shape, will show up.
Right.
And you think he figured out how to play with Embiid. Simmons, we know about his struggles shooting. In the playoffs, somebody's going to find a way to exploit that, although I'm with you. I think he fits in terms of just facilitate to KD if he's healthy and Kyrie if he's available, which are two big ifs. You change your mind? That makes you change your mind?
I got one question. I got one question for Chris. And this really caught my eye because this is exactly the advocate that Kyrie Irving needed. Adam Silver. Adam Silver comes out and says, New York City's mandate doesn't make sense because you can be unvaccinated and come into New York and play, but if you live here, you can't. And he said, I thought the whole point is to kind of, crowd control and keep these numbers down, but you're allowing unvaccinated people to come into the building. What's the point?
I don't think that's a bad argument.
It's not a bad argument. And I think Adam Silver's either intentional or unintentional advocacy for Kyrie Irving might put some pressure on this mandate to kind of relax or to topple. What do you think, Chris?
Listen, Adam Silver did a great job of trying to put some pressure onto the mayor, Eric Adams, but they are not going to change this rule for Mr. Kyrie Irving. Okay, that's not going to happen. And then the other thing you mentioned, it really doesn't make sense as far as, allowing unvaccinated players, into the gym, into the arena. But I don't think they have the jurisdiction. I don't think they have the legal ability to dictate what, non-residents can do. So I think that's something that's missing in the conversation. Like, sure, from a health standpoint, it doesn't make sense, but I don't think they're able to do that legally where they can overreach, their power, overreach their limit. So I don't think anything's going to change. Maybe it will, depending on how, the COVID-19 continues to go down and the pandemic gets better. But at this point in time, I still think Kyrie is going to be sticking to playing road games, and they're not going to bend, the politicians are not going to bend, to what the NBA wants.
One other thing is our boy Vinny Goodwill had a conversation with Adam Silver, Michael, and I saw this caught my eye as well. And he said he wished, he's all for player empowerment. And Harden even talked about, like, for the most part, players get their way in the NBA. But he wished it had been handled differently. With all due respect to whatever Ben Simmons is dealing with, we've talked about that ad nauseum, just from a pure entertainment interest standpoint, I beg to differ. I think that the NBA, one of the reasons that even though the NFL is our national obsession as a sport, the NBA is the best league, is because of the drama that the players are able to drive in many respects. So however Ben Simmons may have mishandled it, however James Harden may have mishandled it, only adds fuel to the fire. You know what I mean? The campfire that we all like to gather around and discuss the NBA. I thought it was great exactly the way it went down. Not to mention, that's our first time talking on the show, Chris. I'm fond of saying everything ends badly, otherwise it wouldn't end. None of those dudes get what they want and take player empowerment to a different level, higher or lower, depending on how you see the situation, if they go about it the right way. What is the right way when you're under contract to force your way out? This was great for the NBA is basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, the NBA, as we know, it's a firestorm on Twitter. The drama, the storylines, people are so petty. So from that standpoint, everybody wins. And what I just would hope is that, and I know Kyrie's not going to do it, but if he were able to take the shot, just imagine how much more excitement and drama we would get where he's able to play in every single game. And I will say, as far as, how things are going to end, if the Sixers probably have more pressure on themselves to win this year than the Nets do, just because we don't know how healthy Joel Embiid is going to stay. And then also, we know Doc Rivers has been known to, blow plenty of leads. And who knows if James Harden is actually going to opt into his player contract option next year, and if he may get dissatisfied. So that's where I stand with it now, but things can change in the future.
Chris Williamson from SNY. Hey, man, good to have you. Come kick it with us more often, all right?
Nah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate y'all. Stay well.
All right, man, be good.
You
Keep
too.
up the great work.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.